Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and if you're new here, consider subscribing so you don't miss any of the videos in this series.
Always force you to watch, vlogging with Josephine. Annoying intro that nobody cares about, but yet here we are.
If you haven't seen the previous videos, make sure to click the YouTube card in the upper right corner so you don't miss anything. So in the previous episode I talked about how I got in at the conservatory, and I also spilled a little bit of tea on the entrance exam, which is what I'm gonna discuss right now. Okay, so you should know the following about the entrance exams for the conservatory in Belgium. We in Belgium have 3 royal conservatories: Brussels, Antwerp, Ghent. The conservatory in Brussels is very international, which means people from all over the world want to study there. So it's very hard to get in, almost impossible unless you're incredible. However, you don't just go to a certain conservatory because it has a certain name. You go to the conservatory based on the teacher where you want to study from. At the Conservatory of Brussels, it's solely the singing teacher who decides who gets in for the vocal part and who doesn't. In Antwerp, which has like a name for singers that it's easy to get into, I don't know if that's true, but in Antwerp there's like the 7 judges you have for the vocal part, like in Ghent, and the judges decide if you get in for the vocal part or not, but this vocal teacher is the one who has the final say in this. So it's the judges who decide whether you get in or not, but it's the vocal teacher who has the final say in whether you pass the exam or not. In Ghent, however, things are a little bit awkward. You see, you have like 7 judges, and there can be a guitar teacher, a harp teacher, a teacher for piano, and they decide whether you get in or not. The vocal teacher can give their opinions, but they don't have the final say in it. They just count the amount of judges that think you are ready to study there and the amount that thinks you are not ready. And I think if I remember it right, that is the head of the music department who decides whether you get in or not. So it's pretty weird that the vocal teachers almost don't really have a say in it. So that's crazy, but that's the way it was explained to me. Also, the vocal teachers have to be invited, and there has to be at least one vocal teacher present, obviously, for the vocal exam. The second time I did my entrance exam, the teacher that wanted to work with me wasn't invited, which is a huge red flag right there for me. Who also wasn't there was a choir teacher. If you remember in my previous videos, those two were 2 of the 3 teachers that actually went to the principal to ask for a chance for me. So the fact that they weren't there was a bit fishy to me. I think maybe they wanted to be objective, but I think there's a bit more to it. So it's very common to have a work of choice that you're gonna perform, and my vocal teacher from MD said it's been like that for every year. It's normal, because he brought a lot of his students to the conservatory. They actually study there now, so he knows how the entrance exam goes, how it works. So when I said, okay, I have this song I want to perform as a work of choice, Se tienne mi divide, they were like caught off guard. They were like, song of choice? In my head I was like, don't do this to me. Like, you know, it's like this every year. It's common. Why suddenly pretend like it's this random thing that someone came up with? So weird. So the thing is, with a work of choice, you prepare a certain amount of songs, and then your work of choice is the song that you want to show what you can do with. The song that you are most certain of, and that you're like, I want to sing this, because they're not gonna ask you to sing every song you prepared. It would just take too long. So anyway, I also sing Se tu mami, L'ho perduta, Gel Sole dal Gange, and some other arias that I can't really remember right now. So I sing all the arias and songs I prepared, and they stopped me at my last song, which is Sally Gardens, and I must admit it's not my favorite at all. And they asked me, can you tell me the first line of Sally Gardens? What dynamic are you supposed to sing? And I was completely caught off guard. I was like, oh my god, I did something wrong. I knew the dynamic was piano, but their question made me question myself. And the thing is, I study my works, and from that point I just know them. I don't look at the scores anymore because I know what I'm supposed to do. So all this time I haven't looked at my score anymore, and he asked me this. I knew it was piano, but now in my head I was like, maybe from the beginning I've learned the wrong thing, and maybe it's not piano after all. Maybe I did something wrong, you know? Maybe I studied it wrong. I was thinking so much that the guy thought I didn't know what it was. So my hesitation made them had second thoughts about my audition. So they told me to sing it again, and I did, still hesitating because I didn't know if I did it right or what they wanted me to sing. And later they told me the combination of not being able to sing piano and not knowing what piano actually means is a combination that calls for disaster. They told me it was like I was trying to sing as loudly as possible. They told me it was like I was trying to sing everything as loudly as possible, which I can kind of agree on because I felt more secure the louder I was singing, which is not great, I know. I was scared that if I wouldn't project, my voice would go in my throat and crack. And I was trying to avoid that at all costs. They said, we gave you a year to practice. We do hear improvements, but not on the things we wanted you to improve on. I already knew that it was over for me at that moment. The exam went way better than the first year, but I improved a lot, but not on breath support, not in dynamics, more in singing freeing my voice, feeling better on stage, like more performance oriented instead of musically, I guess. And also the previous year they asked me questions out of interest and they were really excited. And now it was like they were trying to find things, trying to find reasons to not let me in. It really felt like that. For Sil ciel mi divide, they asked me, there's a lot of works of that composer, isn't there? And I was like, what do they want me to answer? What are they trying to say? What are they looking for? They were like fishing for something and I didn't know what. So I thought, yeah, probably, but I only looked up what I needed to know for my aria. Like, I'm not gonna learn everything about that composer, only the things that are really necessary for my part. I looked up more things about the characters, about the story, more about the actual aria than about the composer. I didn't know what they wanted me to answer, so I got really nervous. And when I walked out of their room, I realized it was over. But days later, when I actually got the news, my heart dropped. My teacher from MD, who was with me at both of the exams to accompany me on the piano, told me that it was a good exam and it was definitely good enough to pass. Like, it's an entrance exam. It's not a performance at one of the greatest gigs for classical vocalists. He also said there was something fishy about the whole situation. He told me, for example, that the teacher who wanted to work with me would retire in 2 years, and the other judges knew that and took that into consideration. He kind of made it clear to me that they kind of used my audition to make clear to her, like, if we say no, it's no. And don't go behind our backs to try and alter our decision. I kind of agree with what he said there, that something's fishy about the whole situation. I think maybe I wasn't good enough, but I believe my second audition was okay as an audition. Like, it doesn't need to be perfect, it's an audition. And so ends my story at the Royal Conservatory of Ghent. The vocal teacher of the conservatory that wanted to work with me called me up and said she didn't believe that I didn't pass, that she talked to the judges and then called me back to try to convince me to go and do the entrance exam again in Antwerp, and then maybe next year from Antwerp go back to Ghent. And then my teacher from MD called me, told me the same, to try out for Antwerp and that he would accompany me again for piano. There was not a problem, he would drive me there. But for me it was done. Also, I really wanted to study with that teacher. She would retire in 2 years, so for me it was like, what's the point? Then I will have to study with a teacher who doesn't really want me in Ghent, and no. It was enough disappointments. Also, it's 5 years that you need to study, and if I already struggle so much to get in, what will it be like in my master years? Like, it's enough. I don't fully blame them, because if I'm not good enough, they shouldn't accept me. Like, they know how heavy it is, and at the end of your first year you need to pull off an awesome performance. So I get it. So if they aren't sure that you have enough confidence and performability, they're not gonna let you in. So also, it took me a while to realize that being a classical singer wasn't actually what I wanted in the first place. I never wanted that, and somehow I made up this story in my head because I got in somewhere, so maybe this will turn out. Like, I kind of lost myself in the thought of being a classical singer. It didn't even fully interest me. Like, I felt the passion of the other students and how my passion was completely different from that. So that was my part of the story. It took a while for me to tell my story, I think because of shame, because it's like disappointment after disappointment after you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough. So why did I actually leave YouTube, and why did I completely stop making music, singing pop? That's for the next video. I'm like an annoying TV show where you have to wait another week to find out. In about a week or so. If you like this video somehow, or the tea I spilled, make sure to subscribe to find out why I actually quit YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Bye guys.